Welcome to the Krafty Max Originals 5th BeadALong. We're going to do our diamonds today. You were given 2 colors, and on each color there's enough to make 2 and enough to make 3 diamonds, depending on what I gave you in your kit. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up 4 of the super duos. Now it doesn't matter which hole you go, whether it's considered the top or the bottom. The only thing that matters is that they actually have 2 holes in them. Okay? We're going to actually skip the last one you put on and go through the top hole or the unused hole of the next one. And if you notice, I'll put my fingers over the beads as I slide my thread. And the reason that I do that is so that the extra thread does not get tangled. Okay? Now you're going to go ahead and pick up another one. You're going to skip one and go through the unused hole of the last one that's on your thread. Now I know it doesn't look like much, but this is the start of our peyote diamond. Okay? Now here is how you're going to do your rows from here on out. You're going to pick up 2, at least till the midway point. Okay? You're going to skip the first one you put on and go through the hole of the second one you've put on. And when you slide this down, get my working tail out of there. When you slide this down, it'll butt up against the ones you've already put. Again, I know it doesn't lay right, I know it doesn't look right, and it's kind of silly looking, but it all works out in the end. Pick up one, and you're going to go through the next open. And the way to make sure you're going the right direction is if you look at the thread, you'll see that it's going this direction out of that bead. So that is the direction that you're going to go through to the next hole. Okay? And sometimes they stay and sometimes they don't. Then you're going to pick up one and you're going to go into the last open hole on the last duo. And when you pull it tight, you'll see we have the start of our diamond. Make sure that your pinky is wrapped well with that thread. You don't want to cut off circulation and make your finger turn green, but you do need it tight because at any point this work will actually slide all the way off if you don't have control over it. Okay, so here we're going to do it again. We're going to pick up 2. We're going to skip the first one and go through the open hole of the next one and slide it down onto the working. Okay, pick up one, and by the way, we're doing peyote if I hadn't mentioned it yet. Going the same direction, we're going to go through the next open hole. We're going to pick up one, going to go through the next open one, and you can pull your thread each time if you feel more comfortable doing that. Okay, get to the other end. We're going to tighten it down a little bit. Again, good tension on your pinky that you have wrapped. Okay, pick up 2, skip the first one, go through the open hole of the second one, slide that down onto our work, pick up 1, go through the next open hole, pick up 1, go through the next open hole, and all the way across. And this is the last row that we're going to do this way because this is our midpoint. And again, if you get a little tangle, okay, or it kind of pulls apart, just undo your tangle or pull. Usually if you pull a good tension, it'll come apart, but just pull your threads, and believe it or not, oops, so sorry about that on the video. Believe it or not, it'll pull right back into itself and have your diamond right back where it was. Okay, again, don't let go of that tension on your pinky. Now, since this is our last row, we're going to do one step different. we're going to put on one, and we're going to go right back through it, because we're not adding another bead, we're finalizing that row. And what you have is your center row. Now do the same thing. Pick up one, go through it. Pick up one, go through the top. Pick up one, go through it, all the way across. Okay, now when we pull tight, you will see that you have your longest row and you've decreased one. Here is the simplest part. Just take your thread and move it down a row. Go across and add your beads. We're going to do that until we have only one bead left as your next point. Pull it tight. See, I'm decreasing. And sometimes they take a little maneuvering, especially if they're an odd shape, but a little pull and tug here and there and it'll work. Now you're going to go down to the next row, and you're going to go across. And you're going to pull it tight. Okay, go down to the next row. And depending, no matter what color that you have, and depending on how many you want to make, you are going to do this exact same thing over and over until you have the right amount of squares, or of diamonds. Okay, we're going to go down one more. Pick one up and go through, and that is going to be my point. See, there's my diamond. And if you give a little tension on either side, you will see that it lays flat. Okay, now the only thing that you're going to do is tie off your thread now. And the only way you want to watch for is that you don't go through an opening. You'll see that there's openings and holes where there's no threads. Basically, the threads go from hole to hole. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to go straight down this one. And I'm going to do two, it's called half hitches. I'm going to go under and up. And as long as you do them in reverse, they will hold. So now I went that direction, now I'm going to go this direction. And I'm going to go down. Okay, then I'm going to move my thread a little bit more and tie another set of knots just to make sure. But see how I'm moving the thread along with where it already is? I'm not going like diagonally across the opening. Okay, so I'm going to catch that thread underneath. And if you do them the same way each time, you'll get much more used to it. So I'm going from the bottom up and through. And now I'm going from what I would call the top down and through. And you never want to cut your thread right up against the knot. You always want to move it just a little bit, even if it's only a bead or two. That way, if the knot does slip, it doesn't hurt your knots. Okay? So now all I'm going to do is put the scissors on, pull a little bit of tension, and cut it. Okay? Then I'm going to come back with the needle and I'm going to tie off this side of the thread. Once you get anywhere from 4 to 5 diamonds, depending on how big your wrist is, then we'll be set for the next video. So there's what you do, and I will see you in video number 2.